I'm going to call to order today's meeting, Tuesday, November 18 for Economic Development Committee. Can I get a roll call?
Chair you.
I'm here.
Vice Chair Glassy.
Here.
Member Martinez.
Here.
Member Eckhoff.
Here.
Member Childress.
Yes.
And Member Heather.
Here.
And do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Okay, no public comment. For my quick remarks, it's just welcome everyone to our Economic Development Committee. Thanks for being here. And as you may probably know, this is our last meeting of the year. We will not be having an Economic Development Committee in December as we will be on winter break. So I'll be seeing you guys again, but happy holidays. Okay, so can I get a motion to approve the minutes 25, 27, 61, minutes from October 21, 2025. I do have a motion from Member Heather and a second from Member Childress. All in favor, any changes or revisions to minutes? And hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? That passes. Can I get a motion to receive and place on file our incumbent worker training 25-2762 for Advent Health?
Second.
A member from Member Childress and a second from Heather. Any questions with regard to this one? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes. Moving on to procurement requisitions, can I get a motion for 25-2797, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to CDW Government Inc. for a one-year subscription via Cloud Solutions to provider CSP agreement for the cost of 30 Microsoft 365 GS licenses and 30 Intune remote help licenses for the Workforce Development Division for the period of January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2026 for a contract total not to exceed $20,280. I did have a motion and a second. Was there a second?
No.
Second.
Okay,
All right,
thank
Member
you.
Childers, seconds, thank you. Any questions with regard to this item? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes. Thank you. Can I get a motion for FIR 0193-25, acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Program Year 26, State Supplemental Funds, Intergovernmental Agreement Number 26-00106, in the amount of $148,150. Did I get a motion? And did I get a second?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Same people. Thank you.
This will be easy minutes.
Right. And Lisa will actually explain that this is not federal funds and what we're going to be doing with this. Lisa, can you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as Chair, you just said, these are not WIOA dollars, they're state general revenue funds. And this is the third batch of these funds that we've received. The nice thing about the fact that they're not WIOA dollars is that we can use them in some ways or serve some individuals that are not WIOA eligible. So what we opted to do with these dollars this time around is something that I've wanted to do for a long time, so I'm excited about it. We hear over and over from businesses in the community that people don't know about the opportunities they have. I'm sure you all have heard that, like nobody knows that this is here, or nobody knows what we do at our company. We also hear from job seekers who lack imagination, let's say, due to just not knowing what kinds of career opportunities are out there. This is particularly noticeable with young adults, right? So what we're doing is we also know that young adults get like 80% of their information from TikTok, Instagram. My 12-year-old gets the news from TikTok, which I just find bizarre. And sometimes I have to correct it. Like, I don't think that's right. But at any rate, we're using those mediums. Our plan is to use those mediums to convey career exploration information out to the community, specifically targeted towards young adults, but it obviously could be consumed by anybody. So the funds are going to largely be used to pay the wages of a content creation team of young adult content creators. We have 3 already, one started, the other are kind of 3 are other in the onboarding process with HR going through background checks and that. But in short order, we should have a team of 4 and then another individual who's serving as a young adult, serving as kind of the program coordinator. They're going to be working out of our office, but going out into the community with us to take videos and make TikToks and all those things, featuring different occupations that people really are not familiar with. Not, your nurse and your police officer and your this and that, but really pulling the curtain back on some of this. So we're excited to see where it leads. We'll be starting all new channels. So once that happens, you guys will all be informed of where to find those. And hopefully it'll be very successful.
Any questions? Yes, Member Martinez.
So this is for content creation, and then you say you're gonna have new channels. You're gonna start with 0 followers.
Yes.
How are you going to increase those followers?
Great question. So first and foremost, we're working with the Regional Office of Ed and all of the high schools and middle schools in the community. And those school districts will be hopefully pushing that out to the students in some way, shape, or form that we'll devise. And then they're going to do kind of a grassroots campaign of, we might have some printed materials that go out into the community. We're also using youth service providers. Examples would be like Naperville, Youth 360 in Naperville, Teen Parent Connection, things outreach, and just kind of try to spread the word organically.
And then do you have someone on staff that is going to do that work to be able to do that work organically?
Yeah, we have our marketing and communications person who's going to be involved in kind of the oversight of the team and laying out kind of the metrics and all of that. For them as well, and then using our kind of natural kind of network of contacts to spread the word on it. Yeah.
And then do you have a goal for follower? What are your metrics? What does success look like?
Yeah, so that's in development, and I'm waiting until the team is there so that we can kind of get their input on that as well. What I wrote to the state was like, I think 1,000 followers or something like that. I don't really know too much about what would signify tremendous reach. But we have a limited amount of time because these funds expire on June 30th. So we're hoping that we'll be able to keep it rolling with, next year with either these funds or additional funding so that we can kind of keep the progress rolling. But yeah, we will be setting up goals and metrics as far as impressions. I've learned a lot about this, impressions, views, followers, and the like, to kind of determine how it's trending. And if I may, 3 of the 4 that we've hired, one is a Marquette graduate with the marketing degree, digital media degree. So he's got knowledge on this already. Another is a young man who's attending community college in marketing, another young man attending community college in marketing. So they have some idea, but it's going to be career growth and experience for them, obviously, as well for their own career.
And you do, you already have social media for work.
We have social media, which we will use to kind of steer people to these new channels, but we wanted to keep them separate so that they're not kind of bleeding into each other, that the content is kind of a separate channel altogether.
So this sounds really cool. First of all, I think it's super unique and a great idea. I was actually going to bring this up under new business, but since you're here and this kind of is a similar, they kind of blend together. I was just listening to a podcast, interestingly, on the way here, and I guess the CEO of Ford was recently interviewed, just saying that there are so many jobs that they can't fill. And then there's been some follow-ups in Wall Street Journal and things like that. And the big takeaway was that not enough students are going to trade school or exploring trade schools. And it was like the numbers were staggering that I just heard, like the amount of students that graduate that go to trade school in the country is something tiny, like 120,000 versus like 1.4 million going to undergrad. And so, they were just saying this is a real problem. So are you targeting that as well, is my question?
Yes, our idea is to kind of do like a blend of different industry sectors initially, just to kind of capture as many people's imagination as possible. But a lot of the work that we do, because of the population of youth that we serve, and we don't serve like university going bound, students typically, that all falls squarely in our wheelhouse.
Okay.
So it'll be, things that you can attend, maybe COD and get a 2-year degree or even a certificate, or even do an apprenticeship, right? And not have to pay for any education. So there will be those elements, but we're also looking at things that people have never heard of and highlighting companies people have never heard of. Like one that we're talking about is a company in Downers Grove that does fire suppression systems and maintenance, all of those kind of mechanical technician roles, no matter what the specific details are of it, there's a huge shortage across the board. It's very similar to like your automotive tech.
Okay.
So people know what an automotive tech is. They don't know what some of these other technician roles are.
Okay.
So yeah, for sure. It'll be those types of jobs primarily.
Okay. And then are you working with Amber Quirk at all? Just
Yes.
to try to get, okay.
Yeah, Amber is very aware of this, so we're, as is Mike Fumagalli from TCD. So we're going to be working as our kind of network that we have community-wide of this kind of career pathway work that we're all doing from middle school to high school to post-secondary to beyond workforce. We have this kind of wide network that we collaborate together. So that's part of the strategy for getting this all pushed out.
Okay, and then, sorry, one last question. As it pertains to trades, maybe this is an Amber Court question, so I apologize if that's the case, but are there any metrics being kept as far as graduates in DuPage going to trade school versus, like, are we seeing, is there any way to track if there's an upward trend in that, if we're trying to encourage graduates to?
You know, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
Amber might know.
I can follow up with Amber.
Or possibly our partners at Cisco, Dan Allen, who sits on our workforce board as well as the Choose DuPage board. He might have some data along those lines, but I'm not sure how closely it's being tracked. And remember, for decades, it's not been a priority. It's been everybody, college readiness,
Yeah,
college college prep. And so it wouldn't surprise me if it's not being closely monitored, but I would argue that it should be.
Yeah. And would that be under Amber's umbrella versus yours?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
And I just want to make one comment, is that Lisa actually mentioned before that this was input that was coming from, different employers and
Oh, yeah.
everything. And it was really
years.
apparent during our manufacturing industry insight series, where people were saying we don't have enough people coming into manufacturing, and there are so many different jobs in manufacturing. And I think during the conversation, people were talking about, it would be great if we could do like a documentary series or a, video series. And I remember thinking, when we used to watch the show Dirty Jobs, do you remember that show? And it was just this wide range of what was out there. And I feel like people just don't have that right now.
Yeah.
So this is really, I think, an idea that came from the manufacturing industry insight series as well, right?
And we also saw it in the healthcare one about
Yes.
the technician role. So people think nursing, or they think like medical receptionist, medical assistant, but nobody's paying attention to all of these great technician roles that are out there. And our major healthcare providers in the county have all told us the same exact story, that that's where their critical skills short. It's no longer really nursing, it's these tech
Other
positions.
positions. Yes, member Hather, good question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is it possible for us to use some of these funds to run social media ads? To Member Martinez's point, it can help us increase our reach. in the
Yep, I
communities.
wrote in budget for boosting
Yeah.
ads and different things like that too. So hopefully that will help as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank
Any other
you.
questions? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes. All right, do we have any old business? And do we have any new business? Okay, and just wanted to say thank you, Member DP Garcia, for joining us. Okay. Motion to adjourn. I get a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.